All right, we're here with another Mastercast, Aerocrastic on the Warriors of Chaos versus Manbreed on the High Elves. Let's go over these armies real quick before we jump into our battle here. I'm going to go ahead and pause everything actually. So Aerocrastic is playing Chaos, and he sent me this replay and he was saying, like, I actually find that High Elves have a far easier time dealing with Chaos nowadays. Maybe it's Alarielle and her ability to keep Dragon Princes constantly on their healing cap. The way that White Lions have gotten a really good buff in a lot of more recent patches, there's just a lot more tools against Chaos. So this is a little bit harder of a matchup than it used to be. Let's go through Aerocrastic's army and what he's decided to go with. So in his front line, you can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 units of Chaos Marauders, just the chaff style infantry of the Warriors of Chaos, followed by a supporting line of 3 units of Chaos Marauders with great weapons. Now, of course, these things are not the tankiest units in the army. I mean, obviously with stuff like Chosen or Chaos Warriors with halberds or great weapons, you have so many more tankier options, but the amount of points that these guys are cost is so cost effective when trading up towards a lot of the heavier armored or heavier infantry or elite infantry of the High Elves. At 27 weapon strength with AP, these guys give a lot of really great return trading upwards into units that cost 800, 1100, 1200 points, like a lot of the elite infantry units of the High Elves. So you get a lot of really great value here. And I think that they're only 500 some odd points, with Marauders being 300 or 350. Now, in addition to that, we talk about our leadership, of course. We have some Chaos War Hounds with poison. Always recommend these guys when you're playing against High Elves because you want to disrupt their back line. That is going to be your biggest boon when fighting against High Elves, is making sure you disrupt their missile play. They have some of the best missile play in the game. Even, I'd say, out trading the Wood Elves just because of the amount of elite infantry they also have access to. They can really keep their archery very well supported, and it has a range of 160 at 425 points. So they're shutting them down is very, very essential. In addition to that, we have some Chaos Knights with Lances. This is your Shock Cav variant versus the non-Lance variant is meant more for perpetual combat. You can see a nice beefy charge bonus of 80 on these guys. A pretty small speed at 66. A lot of the heavier Cav options tend to really kind of outrun them, but at the same time, really their mainstay is going to be jamming into that back line into a really good rear charge or a flanking charge. In addition to that, we're going to also see a unit of Chaos Chariots. Not the Gore Beast Chariots, which are AP and anti-infantry, just your standard edition Chaos Chariot here. A nice bulky 90 armor on these guys. They do have melee defense of 28, making them some of the highest melee defense chariots in the game. But they also have a great 40 weapon strength with anti-infantry, allowing them to really scythe through a ton of High Elf Spearmen, especially ones that are not braced, getting into those rear or flanking charges as well, matching up with those Chaos Knights with Lances. In addition, we have a big Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, one of the oldest creatures in the Warhammer Fantasy universe. Now, these guys, aside from just looking absolutely hideous, look at the piercing, dull eyes of this thing, black as a doll's eye. 460 weapon strength on these big bad boys, causing terror, causing fear, of course, and AP and anti-large. So this thing's going to be really great for taking over lords on dragons, or maybe smacking apart dragon princes, or an errant noble that goes charging your lord down. These guys have a lot of really great kit uses there. God, mouth. In addition to that, we also have a Chaos Sorcerer of Shadows with just simply 2 spells, Enfeebling Foe and the Penumbral Pendulum. This will be really great because when you're dealing with High Elves, you're going to deal with a lot of standardized line infantry. So you're going to be able to get really good lines on the Penumbral Pendulum, getting a really good wind spell down that entire line. In addition to that, we see the Scroll of Shielding, which is very, very common in the competitive realm, getting that nice 22% damage resistance. In addition, the Chaos Sorcerer is on a mana core, so you have 445 weapon strength coming out of this bad boy. All Chaos Sorcerers are very well armored at 80 armor, and even still 39 melee defense and 40 melee attack. So this guy is still, he's not the absolute terror in the night that you would expect anyone else on a beast to be, but for a caster on a beast, he does the job when it comes to being in melee. So it is worth noting as well. He also has Invasion on here for a nice little bonus to his melee defense and speed as needed. In addition to that, the Lord that Aerocrastic has gone with is just a standard edition Chaos Lord. Now, he's gone with some things that are pretty cool, pretty unique, is the Pendant of Slaanesh. Now, this is pretty customary to this kit because he does have 44 melee attack and 24 speed on this. That's going to take the 90 speed of our standard Chaos Lord on the Chaos Dragon up to around 110, 112 speed when he pops it. So if he's trying to pursue, say, a Lariel on a Great Eagle, which is a little bit harder to pin down, or any Dragon Prince or anything of the sort, Dragon or Prince on a dragon, it's going to be easier for him to catch him. And also at 550 weapon strength, just whopping out some AP damage. He also has the Dark Fire of Chaos, which is the Dragon Breath of the Chaos Dragon. And he also has Standard Die. So this sums up Aerocrastic's army here. It is a very interesting army that there's not a lot of standard infantry here. There's not any Chaos Warriors, there's no Chosen, there's no Chaos Warriors with halberds or great weapons. So Aerocrastic is really relying on the shock value of his two Lords and Heroes, his Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, and the Chaos Knights as well as Chariots. So this is really going to be just to trade better into any kind of Spearman play, or use these guys to help crack open the elite infantry while he uses these other units to kind of really do a lot of damage. Now let's take a look over here at Manbreed's army. And if you don't know who Manbreed is, he is a Russian streamer. I believe he streams on Twitch. Both Aerocrastic and Manbreed have their own channels, and I'll link them in the description below because I want you guys to head on over to their channels and check things out. They have a lot of really cool, awesome stuff. It'll be in the description. It will not be a comment. So that way you can see that. So if you want to catch them live, that's how you do it. So Manbreed's army is also equally unique. There is not a lot of elite infantry. In fact, it's only spearmen, supported by 4 units of archers. Just standard archers here. No Sisters of Avalorn. And Sisters of Avalorn, of course, are the AP ranged unit for High Elves. So a very interesting play here because he as well is relying on the shock value of his heroes and, well, beasts. In this case, he's taken a Sun Dragon, which is the youngest of dragons and the, I guess, quote-unquote weakest. I believe they're about 1,800, 2,000 points. And they're still, they're no slouches. The nice thing about these things is that they all cause terror, and that is really great against what we see here is a very large Marauder front line. They have terrible leadership, so being able to cause terror on all of these big units is going to be pretty substantial here. In addition, he does have a breath attack, which is different than the other dragon's breath attack. So the Sun Dragon is better against a single unit versus other ones a little bit stronger at single entity. It's more of like a shotgun versus the Star Dragon, I believe, is a little bit more of a laser. From what I remember them describing the breath attacks to be like, as far as the difference between sun, moon, and star. So that might have changed over time, and I'm not 100% honest. I'll be very forthright with that. So if that has changed, please feel free to let me know. In addition, we do have a Star Dragon, the oldest of dragons, on the other end of the spectrum here. So as you can see, a lot more weapon strength, 580 versus 460. You're getting 120 weapon strength, and I believe around 2,800, 2,400 points. So you're getting quite a bit more staying power, quite a bit more weapon strength, a different breath attack here. You can see that it has a lot more AP as well. Powerful explosion, good against armor, good against large combatants. So targeting things like a Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, if it's not moving around, can do more damage than just say the Star Dragon. In addition, we have a Lariel, which has really become a staple of almost every single really good competitive high elf build. She just offers so much healing. So she's got obviously Earthblood, and then she's also got the Star of Avalorn. Dropping that down, she's just going to be pumping out so much healing. In addition, with Arcane Conduit, she'll be recovering those Winds of Magic. Frost Protection is going to keep things in good health. She does have Boon of Aisha, which I think might have been a miss choice. Typically, you don't usually take this unless you're fighting against any kind of undead, because this imbues things with magical damage around her and immune to psychology, and we're not going to be dealing with a bunch of those issues right now. Elves as a whole have really great leadership. So, and she herself is immune to psychology. So our last unit here for the High Elves is the Fireborn. Now these are probably one of my favorite units. They're straight out of the High Elf and Heraldry book. God damn, my tongue today, guys. But they have anti-large, which is awesome, and they have fire damage. They have fire resistance here, so they have a lot of really great abilities that they're going to be using against what you might be seeing with a Chaos Army, which is a lot of fire damage from the Lore Fire, from Archaon himself. So there's a lot of ways that these guys can be used to great advantage to the High Elves. So I like Manbreed's choice here of taking the Fireborn, even though they are quite expensive at, I think, around 18 or 2,100 points around that arena. So let's see how this fight gets squared off here between an ancient evil and an ancient force of order. So let's go ahead and play. We'll remove that. You can see the Flying Doom Squad's already kind of just kicking in here. Looks like they're going for a little bit of a goon on that Chaos Lord. Chaos Lord's kind of falling back. There is no range play for the for Chaos at all. So the High Elves see that they can take a really good advantage on their their Air Force by comparison to the Chaos. They can really get up and do a lot of harassment on these Lords. They can keep them on their heels the entire game, which is a really good play by Manbreed against Aerocrastic. Aerocrastic has substantially awesome micro when it comes to dealing with large armies here. You can see the archers are already starting to rip through the Chaos Marauders here. Chaos Marauders do have bronze shields. They will be able to weather a little bit of the storm as they get close and personal into these Chaos Spearmen. Fireborn are kind of wrapping around to the left flank of the High Elves as the chariots come thundering forward. The Air Force is still trying to catch up to the Chaos Lord. It's already taken a little bit of damage here, but looking to get a good lineup on some of these breath attacks, it looks like. We've clashed in the front lines. Shaggoth just slamming through things. The spearmen are just trying to stab into those chariots. Tons of stuff is going down here. I think Frost Protection just kicked off Frost Protection in that middle line, trying to buff up those spearmen as they deal with the bulk of those Marauders, Shaggoth, and chariot charges. You've got the dragons moving in onto the Chaos Lord, which looks like it's just about to get caught. Sun Dragon diving down here onto the Shaggoth. Ancient half dragon, half ogre fighting ancient, just normal dragon. We'll see how this pans out for us, huh? Alariel is really getting in the face of that Chaos Lord, but you can see that the Chaos Lord has broken free just a little bit and is now being supported by his Sorcerer Bro, who's jumping right on into them archers. Slowing this down here so we can take a look a little bit. The Sun Dragon sees that it's kind of outmatched between these two units. A lot of AP damage coming its way. The Shaggoth is getting targeted by a lot of range fire. And ooh, right as the Sun Dragon is about to get pinned down by the Chaos Knights, it just squeezes out of that engagement. Real great move by Manbreed there. Aerocrastic dealing with a little issue on his left flank as he is suffering from unit losses and leadership on the far left from these two units of spearmen in conjunction with the archers. So he's going to have to bring in this unit of Marauders with Great Weapons to kind of help out there. As a whole, we can see there is a duel in the skies. Feathers and bat wings are going wild here, but it looks like they're probably just going to be, they're just going to be moving away from each other right there. Sun Dragon probably looking to turn around in a little bit and get a good breath attack on things. Ooh, enfeebling foe onto the Fireborn, which is a good choice here. We want to keep their damage down as much as possible. It does reduce their melee attack and their melee defense. And the important thing about both of those items is that melee attack increases your likelihood to hit, and melee defense decreases your likelihood to be hit. So decreasing both of those factors will reduce the amount of time that this unit will actually score hits and making it easier for your units to hit against it. But you can see Aerocrastic has gotten into that back line very well onto this unit of archers. He has a lot of units in the back here, which are now diverting their attention back onto this Star Dragon to try and bring it down. A unit of Chaos Knights, you've got this unit of Chaos Marauders, which is pushing back into here. The chariots have pushed through, looking to get more backline disruption here, as the Chaos Lord just kind of is still circling the battlefield, keeping both Alariel and the Star Dragon occupied, which is a very great move on Aerocrastic's part. Ooh, look at that chariot! Just ripping through one unit of archers, looking to do another one. Aerocrastic just bringing them right around again, charging right into them. Really, really great pressure there. Star of Avalorn has been kicked off here on to this Sun Dragon, which is about to just kind of get 2v1 against the Chaos Warriors and the Dragonair Shaggoth. Alariel getting there, looking to do some damage as well. Alariel doesn't have the most armor and not the most melee defense, but she can do a little bit of pecking with her Great Eagle, so getting any kind of damage in at this point, trying to kind of tip the balance on that Dragon Ogre Shaggoth, hopefully break it or reduce its leadership enough that it gets pulled out by Aerocrastic is a good move on Manbreed's part. You can see this right flank is kind of stabilizing a little bit as these guys start to come back. He does have a unit of Marauder, or Aerocrastic has a unit of Marauders that he can use and push into whatever flank he so wishes. But those Chaos Chariots are just doing a number on those archers, guys. Doing a good job of keeping this Chaos Sorcerer in great health. Hasn't been focused down too much by any play. Oh! Star Dragon coming in here, jumping onto that Dragon Ogre Shaggoth. Great move there, trying to, again, capitalize on knocking out that huge source of anti-large and AP damage in which that Shaggoth is. We haven't seen too many breath attacks just yet. And, that is pretty common for this level of play. You only want to use those breath attacks in a very opportunistic moment. You're not going to want to, really force yourself out of position to get them unless you have a very good kind of 1-2 punch along with it. But Shaggoth is in really bad shape here as they're just kind of getting 2v1. You got the Fireborn on it there as well, getting that 3v1 actually. The Chaos Lord is just kind of flying about. Looks like he's trying to get a good target here. And the Chaos Sorcerer is again casting some more spells. I think we had an Enfeebling Foe, or was that just a... No, that was an Earthblood that was cast onto the Fireborn, keeping them in really great health. Dealing with some a little bit of flight here with some of our Chaos Marauders, which is to be expected. Chaos Chariots coming around for another charge here onto the rear of these bad bros. Chaos Lord swooping down onto that Star Dragon, probably actually even going for Alariel, to be totally honest here. He's popped the Pendant of Slaanesh, Scroll of Shielding, and Standard Die. The Scroll of Shielding was popped from the Sorcerer onto him, of course, trying to get some good health. Look at that big slap in the face to Alariel. Just trying to keep a lot of stabilization going there, trying to keep that Shaggoth onto the single entity. One big thing I want to mention here, guys, when you are using single entities, you want to be spamming right-click. If you don't spam right-click, they have a tendency to do just this. Okay, well, my Shaggoth, rather than fighting Alariel, is now doing damage into these Fireborn. Now, I'm not sure if that was Aerocrastic's aim, but rather than him doing the bulk of his damage to Alariel, which he could be doing, he's now diverted his attention over to the Fireborn. And the same thing with the Chaos Lord. You can see here that he is spamming right-click as he kind of pushed him out of this engagement a little bit. Looks like he wants to get him out of the fray here. But again, with those single entities, you want to be making sure you're constantly spamming the attack command, or they do get lost in the fray quite easily. Looking to path through these Fireborn, it looks like Alariel has gotten back up. Going to get some Manticore on Alariel action, I think, which would be a very good play. Dragon getting shot a little bit by the archers here, but I think the archers... Yep, there's a big charge in from those Lancers into one unit of archers. This unit is going to be hit by some Marauders and some units of Chaos War Hounds with poison kicking in. Ooh, that Lord is dangerously low right now. Sun Lord is nipping at his heels. Ooh, just squeezing out of that engagement. Great play by Aerocrastic, and look at that. That Shaggoth is just holding on for dear life. Alariel is starting to falter here. She's been hit down so high so heavy with health loss that her leadership is tanking, but he's coming back in for that Chaos Lord, trying to get that Alpha Strike right onto Alariel, tank that leadership, and if he does that, that shuts down not only the leadership for the High Elves, but their casting and mainly their healing. Alariel allows you to really make a lot of errors as the High Elves because you have so much healing that you can kind of correct any bad moves that have been made. Now, Aerocrastic is taking his Chaos Sorcerer and keeping it on the Sun Dragon, trying to either kill it or completely drive it off the map. This is a great play here. We've talked about this many times, but doing this makes it so that this unit won't ever come back. Oh, never mind. Looks like that the Chaos Sorcerer is going on the all-in on Alariel. Yeah, he's going right down into Alariel. Going for the Manticore Teabag right onto her. The Lady of Avalon. War Hounds with poison jumping onto this Star Dragon so that it cannot get out of the engagement, but then reverting back over towards the Spearman. Jesus, I choked on myself. But we have, really, the only thing that's really left here is the Star Dragon. The Manticore is going to be pushing this off. Melkoth's miasma? Oh, no, we didn't take that. We didn't take that. I thought that was a spell right there. It was. Enfeebling Foe onto the Star Dragon, helping to really just kind of capitulate this one, bringing army losses in, and really that was a very close one. We had... That Chaos Lord was so low in health, the Shaggoth was just barely holding on by a pube of Slaanesh. And honestly, I gotta say, that Shaggoth was in the thick of it for a lot of that fight. He dealt a significant amount of damage to the Sun Dragon. He was slapping around Alariel when she landed. He also did a lot of damage to those the Fireborn. I'm not sure if all 28 kills were on the Fireborn. I really couldn't tell you, to be totally honest. But he stayed in the fight a long time. Typically, you pull the Shaggoth in and out of engagements behind your front line and forward and back, getting those opportunistic charge. But Aerocrastic did a really good job of kind of keeping him in an engagement that made the most sense for him, right? Against a lot of anti-large. In which case, all three of these units, which are probably the best units in this roster right now, I'm sorry, this actual army build right now, and it really got the most value out of that Shaggoth. In addition, the Lord did a really good job of distracting all three of the flying units of the High Elves in the very beginning of the game. He didn't really kind of pin down any one thing and kind of do like an anti-alpha charge. Like, okay, you're charging me with 3, I'm going to charge you with 2. It's not going to work out for him. He did a really great job of kind of keeping that circle going. And Manbreed did an awesome job of keeping his archers online, keeping them staggered, keeping them moving out of engagements. He used his Fireborn whenever he could on really good charges. So he had a lot of really great moves on both ends, but I just think that it was the overwhelming kind of full surround that happened on both Alarielle and the Star Dragon at the end that really tipped the scales in favor of Aerocrastic over Manbreed. But this was a very, very, very close game. As always, guys, though, do head on over to Aerocrastic. He does have a YouTube channel. Manbreed does have a Twitch channel, so you can find them in the description below. Head on over to them, give them some love. But you'll see more of these Mastercasts throughout the week. I have a ton of stuff planned for you guys. I got some Bretonnia lore coming. I'm working on my 40k lore. Unfortunately, I'm probably going to be holding off on my Conrad Kerr's 40k video because of the new Conrad Kerr's book coming out. So unfortunately, I will be putting a little bit of a delay on that. But tons and tons of stuff coming out this week here, guys. Thanks so much for bearing with me on kind of a slow week last week. But thanks so much for watching. Have a good one and take care.